Hey, welcome. It's a Monday night episode because 5 episodes ago we started a brand new conversation. And that is the Behind the Chair Millionaire. I'm working on my book, and all you guys wanted, I think there's like 25,000 of you said as soon as it's done, send me one, and I promise to send you one. Compliments of L'Oreal, God bless them. But we are in search of Behind the Chair Millionaires, and tonight we have one. She is an esthetician, well on her way. Sheila Adriano, she was with me in it was either the back end of 2017, front end of 2018, as an Esti Jedi. Back then, she was 27-ish, give or take, 28. And now she's on the front end of 30-something. She broke a six-figure W-2 at 30. And with regard to this conversation, in a relatively short period of time, she's been able to save and grow 6 figures in a money market fund. Got about 100,000, give or take. Got 100 in home equity, so there's 200 there. But she's this year trending to crack 145-ish on her W-2. No, wait, there's more. She's in a rhythm of taking about 15, 20% of that and putting that away. That totals about 20 grand a year. So she's on a trajectory of crossing over to $1 million, probably, if things go well for her, on the front end of 40-something. Now you know why I invited Sheila. You can see over the years her income continues to grow. For 260 some episodes, that's all it was about. How are you blowing up your income? How are you using social media? What kind of services are you doing? And that's still an important conversation. We're going to have it. But tonight, in addition to that conversation, is what are you doing with the money you're making? Are you spending less than you make? And if so, how much of it are you using to pay off your debt? She's debt-free now. There's basically no credit card debt, she's got some, she's paying off her home, etc. And what's your pattern? What's your rhythm of saving money? So that basically, in addition to income, how are you building your worth so that at the end of 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years, you've got something sacredly, profoundly important, essential to show for your devotion, your hard work, your commitment. Being an esthetician, being a hairdresser, being in the salon spa is not for the faint of heart. It takes extraordinary courage. So that's what our conversation is about. I'm going to go and get Miss Sheila. She's in our green room now. I'm going to get her talking a little bit about her life, and then I want her to catch us up to how she's earning money, but also what her life is like since she's begun building her net worth. So let's see. I'm going to stop mirroring. I'm going to hit. There she is. There. We're going to unmute her, and you guys are going to make her feel very welcome.
Hey, Michael.
Hi, Sheila. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm just wonderful. Thank you very much. This is your day off, and you came into the spa, left your family at home with probably your hubby and to be with us tonight. So thank you for giving up a part of your life to be here.
Thank you for having me again.
I remember you and I go back 2017-ish. We were chatting about this 26, 27-ish, and now you're just on the front end of 30-something, and you continue to grow. So kudos to you.
I know. It's so crazy, right?
I
feel like that was so long ago.
And but I want to spend just a little bit of time because you were with us, last time I saw you was at episode 108. So it's like 160 episodes ago. I want you to catch us up again because one of the things I was curious about, and frankly, I have forgotten what inspired you to get into the business, and I don't want to go on an archaeological dig for that interview. So, like, You graduate from high school probably on the front end of what, 2005, 2006-ish? Am I close?
2008, actually.
Okay. But what inspired you? Did you go right from high school into
I did.
Esti?
Yes.
So you decided that I don't want to go into college, that I want to go to school, get my esthetician license. What inspired that?
Well, my mom was a cosmetologist, so I knew growing up I would probably be in the beauty industry.
Yes.
Hmm.
So the old saying that the kids don't take after the neighbors, huh?
Exactly.
So your mother was your inspiration. She was your
Mhm.
vision, and she's a hairdresser. But you decided. Now, did you go to get your hairdresser's license too, or did you? So you decided, I want to get into the business, but I want to get into esthetician.
Right. Well, I also had terrible acne in high school and I wanted to learn more about it. So
Oh,
that was my also.
isn't that something? So you find the cure for
Right.
acting for yourself, and you go, I'm going to devote the rest of my life to beginning in the business and helping people that have that issue and then some. So you're the Esti Jedi. So that all of the Estes that I've interviewed, first thing I do is I sig them on you. Follow Sheila because she's on almost a daily basis. You're making discoveries of what's the new, latest, greatest.
Thank you.
So you and I interviewed you back in 17. You crack 100 on a W-2. This year you're trending, 130, 140 something. How, like, what are you doing to like continue to raise the bar there? You and I were chatting, and you're always finding the latest, greatest, newest premium Esti service. Talk about that a little bit and what you're doing now and what is your latest, greatest service.
Well, it's still definitely microblading, the permanent makeup. Always upgrading those services. It's a big money service. So every time somebody comes in for just a simple brow wax, I always talk to them about definitely if they've been thinking about microblading, they should definitely get on it.
Oh, I love it. You would be Randy Kunkel's bestie because he continues to say every eyebrow makeover, if you will, waxing eyebrow wax service is an opportunity to make that guest aware that there's some other real specialty services and to guide the conversation to that. It sounds like not only have you adopted that, but you've developed a skill set to get somebody that's in for a simple service like eyebrows into something higher end like microblading.
It really is.
So I'm just curious, and you and I said we want to keep it organic. I'm just curious if you had 10 guests that were down for an eyebrow service, and you engage 10 of them into what's possible with something like microblading or whatever it is for a higher end. How many of the 10 would take you up on the offer? They get curious and go, ooh, that sounds interesting. Is it half of them? Is it?
Oh, yeah. Definitely at least half of them.
At least half. So on a bad day, it's 5 out of 10. On a day where you're in the zone, probably closer to 7 or 8.
Yeah, probably.
Wow. And what's the difference between what you would charge for an eyebrow service to a microblade? What's that difference in dollar amount?
A brow wax is probably, I think, 25 and microblading is 450.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's
so,
a
big upgrade.
Oh my Lord. And so now is that 450 happen in one visit? Is it spread out over 2 or 3?
That's one visit, and then their next visit is 100 6 weeks later.
Right. So a step up, a level up from 25 to 450, that's a $425 upgrade.
Yeah.
What do you normally mark out for time on an eyebrow service, a $25 eyebrow versus a 450 microblade?
15 minutes for a wax and 2 hours for a microblade.
Great. So, I mean, I did the math in my head. If you did 4 waxes an hour, that's $60. 2 hours, that's 120. A $450 microblade. What did you say? What, you book out 2 hours?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my Lord! So you're making 2.5 times more in that 2 hour window, and you're on working with one client versus 8.
Exactly.
So you've really, when when we're building our wealth, it's like spend less than you make, which we're going to talk about that in a second. Dial up your earning power, which you've done, and then begin to pay down your debt, and you're debt free now.
Yep.
Now, when you say debt free, with regard to credit cards and stuff like that, that's off your plate, and I'm assuming that when you use your credit card, that you'll pay them off when they come due.
Yep. Yeah, that's all debt free.
Yeah, and so would there be other debt like a house payment? I know that you have 100,000 or so in equity, so that's I call that quality debt, but you're paying that down as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
What about car loan? Do you still have that sidebar, or you got your car paid off?
No, I still have that.
All right. So, and this is all what I would call quality debt, unlike credit cards. So debt free there. But here's what I'm curious about. Sheila, you got 100,000 into, put away that's growing. When did you get the inspiration to add that intention that in addition to being a high earner as an esthetician, I want to begin to build whatever you want to call it, financial security, prosperity? Like, you and I didn't have this conversation in 2017, 18. It was all about making money, and then all of a sudden I find out that you're very quietly building wealth. When did you get that as an inspiration?
It was probably then when I was talking to you. Once I started making more money, I was like, I gotta hide this away.
So you began shortly after the interview saying, okay, my income is growing.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to make sure that I don't consume everything. As my income grow, I don't want to allow my lifestyle to grow. I want to regulate that so I have a little bit of, I'm going to call it expendable, and begin to build a rhythm of saving.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you and I were chatting, you're like the last year and this year, you're trending to save like around 20 grand. That's like $400 a week. When you first started doing this, was it did you start out at 400 a week, or did you start out small?
Little by little, definitely not 400 a week. I would say more like 5,000 a year. Then it became, yeah.
Yeah. So what is it? 5,000 a year is about $100 a week.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, and that was, you began that rhythm 2017, 2018 as you were growing your income.
Right. When I was younger and just slowly becoming more and more financially stable.
Right. As you stabilize. Well, so you've been kind of on the saving rhythm. Let's just say it's been 5 years. Mm-hmm. Am I close?
Yes.
So 5 years ago, when you decide to do this, it's about $100 a week. Mm-hmm. But over 5 years, you've kind of built that rhythm as your income grows. We just kind of naturally figure out. And so now it went from 100, and today it's like that number is closer to 400. So it goes from 5 a year to about 20 a year. I mean, that's a very extraordinary progression to make. And what I'm curious, because I've been on the path that you're on now, and I've certainly interviewed a number of people, when you take a look at, what you save and how it's growing, I know for me there was a point you kind of look at it and go, yeah, yep. And all of a sudden one day you look at it and you go, what? Because it starts kind of snowballing. Did you have that experience?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like how long were you doing it before you had, I call it the big bang, the OMG?
I'd say recently. I'm like, whoa, like it's getting up there.
Right, and isn't that interesting? So
Mm-hmm.
you've been on the rhythm for 4 or 5 years, but as of just recently, like in the last year, it's not like you're not looking at it. You kind of peek at it, but you don't see anything kind of out of the ordinary. And then all of a sudden, one day you peek,
Right.
and it's growing. It's snowballing. You go, wait a minute, wait a
Mm-hmm.
minute, something's not right here. I know what I've been putting in, but the total of what I'm putting in compared to the total I'm seeing, what's that? And all of a sudden you have the OMG that, oh, it's growing, right? And you go, it's like
Right.
it blows the sides off of our brain box, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
And then all of a sudden you start revisiting all the classes that you and I were in, where you go, making money in your sleep, and someday your money is
Uh-huh.
returning the favor of working harder for you than you're working for. And you go, wow, that's not made up. That's like real. You thought it, we think it's poetic. It's a poetic play on words. You go, no, this is
It's
real,
real.
right? But however
Mm-hmm.
it looked, now that you're on the other side of it, it's like there's no way you can tell that to someone that hasn't
Mm-hmm.
experienced that yet. And then once they experience, they're doing, yup.
Right.
It's almost like it doesn't make sense until you experience it.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you go from here? Is it basically continuing to, like, you're trending, what, 140, 150 this year? What do you see next for you in terms of not only your life as an esthetician, but your life as somebody that's building, we'll call it a 7-figure net worth?
Who knows? It's like the limit doesn't exist, right?
Yeah, there is. You're just, what I get as I listen to you and look at you is, I love my life. I'm just gonna keep showing up and keep it cooking.
Right, exactly.
And then you and we were playing with some numbers. I showed you that little calculator that I kind of screw around with. And if you stay out, like once upon a time you were saving 100, now you're
Mm-hmm.
saving 400 a week. That trajectory has you at $1 million at 43, 44, 45. So I remember you and I were having this conversation a couple of weeks ago when I was talking about having you on the show, and I was showing it to you, and I was looking at you, and you were like, "What?"
Yeah.
So was that one of those, your second big bangs? Like, you got to be
Uh-huh.
really? That's almost like freaks you out.
It does. It really does. I mean, it's just like you never really think about it, you know?
Yeah, and all of a sudden you're there. And it's
Mm-hmm.
something we don't talk about because it's
No.
not that it's a secret, but it's private. We want to be discreet about it. And I never asked you this, but in my own life, and I'm kind of on your path. I grew up the opposite. I come from very, very, very meager, humble means. I call it, impoverished. So it's not like I came from money,
Mm-hmm.
right? You kind of grow, and so there's people in my family that aren't there yet. I love them, but you all of a sudden you find out that, okay, I'm on a different path. Are you finding that to be the case as well?
Yeah, same exact.
And then people that you work with, like there's you and I were chatting about this. I'm going to call it your average, your typical Estes or hairdresser, whatever, good, bad, or indifferent. They're not on this path yet,
Right.
and so as time goes on, your path starts showing up, and then people kind of start finding out that, yeah, you're my peer, you're my buddy, you're my bestie, but you got something cooking that I don't have yet. Have you had that experience? What's that kind of like when you're around your homies and all of a sudden, they kind of find out that there's this special part of your life that you've been private about?
Right. Yeah, they want to know all the secrets, right?
Oh, well, wonderful. So you're saying that as your peers kind of find out, they get curious and they go, Sheila, tell me, like, what? And all of a sudden, it's almost like you're kind of paying forward
Mm-hmm.
you know, what you're doing. It's wonderful when you have people like that in our life. And there's a couple of people in my life, and I don't know if you've had this experience. You and I have not talked about any of this stuff, but
Mhm.
there's been people in my life where, you know, they know that you have a little bit, you have money. They want to, quote, borrow some money, and you know that, you know, their intentions are good. It's almost like, I believe that you believe that you'll pay me back, but you kind of sort of know that it probably isn't going to happen. People get amnesia. Did you ever find yourself in that place, and is it kind of weird?
Sometimes, yeah.
I know. It's almost like you know, I've asked my friends that, you know, are building prosperity, like, what do you say? And you know,
Right.
I'm getting, it's almost like I'm getting a script, and now I say to people that I love you too much
Mhm.
to borrow you that kind of money. I'll tell you what, I'll give you a little bit of money, and here, do whatever you can, or I'll teach you what I'm doing. But I don't want to loan you that much because I care too much about you. It would put our relationship at risk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and there's an awkward pause for a little while, and then it kind of goes away, and you kind of get on with your life. So you're finding that to be the case too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, we're coming to the end, but I always love to ask this question, and this is a question that it's become very, 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 very important question as I'm moving more. You're like the sixth interview I've done on this very, I call it sacred conversation. It's not secret, it's sacred. It's not, it's a private conversation, discreet. But there's a number of people, Sheila, that are watching us tonight. There'll be a lot more people watching this as the recorded version of this, and they're kind of watching you, me, we. They're listening to you, me, us. But as they're looking at you and listening to you, they can first of all identify with, you know, who you are as an esthetician, who you are as a person, and they're going, I can identify with her. I
Mhm.
can relate to some of the things she's saying, with one exception. She's in a place that I'm not. I'm not there yet. I'm in the place that she was, and I'm asking myself the question, whether I'm 20 something, 30 something, 40 something, whatever it is, if I should decide to add this as my goal, should I or shouldn't I? It's almost like they're at the holy jumping off place. And do I take the giant leap of faith? But they're wondering, God, is it going to work for me? Am I going to give up on it? Am I going to, like, what would you say to somebody that might raise the probability that they would add something like this to their wish list?
I would say don't give up. I would say patience is key, and you'll get there one day for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I tell people, don't think about it. I think three of the most
Mhm.
dangerous words you can say when you're on this path at first is, I've been thinking.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't, you can't see how saving a little bit over time can put you in that place. And it's like, you don't need to see it. You just need to believe that it's possible, even though you can't see it. And if you start taking some little steps, like you've been on it for 4 or 5 years, and all of a sudden
Mhm.
now you're really starting to see how this works and why it works. You look back and you go, oh boy, am I glad that I didn't wait to kind of
Mhm.
understand how this could work before I did it. You know, part of this is blind faith.
Right.
Well, listen, I want to let you get home to your fam, but promise me you'll come back for an encore, and we won't wait 4 years. Well,
I promise.
I'd love to have you back, maybe once a year, have you come in. As a matter of fact, I didn't talk to you about this, but L'Oreal is going to launch a series of webinars with me called the Behind the Chair Millionaire, and they're going to give people complimentary passes to come in that Zoominar with me. I would love to invite you in as my guest at one or two of the classes, and just you and I just kind of chat for 10, 15 minutes, so that I don't like talking about me. I like bringing people like you in that are still in the game, because I think the people that we talk to, they have a lot more regard for a peer than they would
Love
for,
that.
somebody like it's like I've just been around a long time. So would you promise me you'll do that?
Yes, promise always.
All right, I love it. Well, thank you very much, Sheila. I have think the world of you and what you're doing. You're a vision of what's possible. Say hi to all my homies, at Bella Trio, and please, thank all my friends for, Emily, for allowing you to come on and hang out with me tonight.
Thank you so much, Michael.
All right, we're gonna give it up for Sheila one more time, you guys. Thank you, my friend. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, you too. Wow, you guys, that was amazing. Give it up for her one more time. I wanted to show you something that I did for her. I'm going to see if I can blow this, if we can blow this up so that you can actually see a closer view. Enter full screen. What happens if I enter it full screen? Okay. All right. So I think the best I can do, what I did is, it's a calculator that I'm working on. It's called my Behind the Chair Millionaire Savings Calculator. And what it did is, we took 20. She's got $100,000 in a savings account. It's actually like an IRA, and she's adding a few $100s a week to it, but annually it comes to $20,000 a year. So I was curious about, so if she continues to do that, how many years before the 100,000 turns into $1 million? And it looks like it's about 15 years. 15 years from now. And it's based on a number of 8%, which is an average annual yield return that you're saving long term. You're not saving in your typical passbook savings account in the bank. You're sitting down with a financial planner and you're putting the money away. It's tax deferred, whether you want to call it an IRA, a 401, long-term savings that's got an annual of 8. I've been doing this for many, many years, and mine's an easy 8. It's probably closer to 9. But in Sheila's case, in 15 years, she'll be just under $1 million. This is 933,000. Here's the actual graph. The green is the money that's growing on the money that she's saving. So you can see the blue is her money, and then the green is the money that's growing on the money that she's saving and investing, if you will. So the green is, I call it, it's the money that is saying, returning the favor of working as hard for her as the blue. The blue money is what you and I and we work hard for. The green is the money that's working hard for us. So sometimes I'll call the green earning interest for a living, or I'll call the green making money in my sleep, because I don't have to get up tomorrow morning, go to work to earn that money. That money is earning for me on the money that I put in. That's what's so profound about this conversation. That's why I decided that I'm going to spend, whatever number of years I have left in the salon industry, working with she's an esthetician, whether it's a massage therapist, a nail artist, hairdressers, coaching, mentoring, teaching, tutoring, encouraging, motivating, inspiring as many people as I possibly can to really get behind this idea that not only is it possible to be a millionaire working as a service provider in a salon or a spa, not only is it possible, it's highly probable. It's not rocket science. It's simple. It's very simple. It's so simple that it will insult your intelligence. Now, it's simple, but it's not easy. I'm going to say that again. It's simple, but it's not easy. Because what you need to do is you need to change the way we be. So in order to pull this off, and some of you have seen me talk about this before, notice the hair follicle takes the shape of a dollar sign, and the bobby pin comes through the currency, and there's 4 diamonds. Here is the land of milk and honey. Down here is broke as a joke, too much month at the end of the money. But the 4 rules are you need to spend less than you make. So it's becoming a millionaire is simple. It's not easy, because the hard part of becoming a millionaire is that you must get to a place where you're spending less than you're making. You need to be spending 10 to 20% less than you're making. If you're spending what you're making, you will never, ever, ever, ever develop any kind of wealth, never mind becoming a millionaire. So that's the first. We always begin with the end in mind. We start at the end. And then if you need to pump up your income so that you can have more left over, go ahead and do that. That's what Sheila did. Every year she adds another $10,000 to $15,000 to her income. You saw tonight where she said, I'll take every eyebrow guest that I have, 7 out of 10 of them, and I will trade them up from a $25 quick eyebrow makeover to a $450 microblade. So she knows how to give herself a raise. That's how she gives herself a raise. So that she's spending less than she's making, and then she has money, a lot of money, left over at the end of the week or every other week or month to pay down her debt, and the biggie, to begin paying herself first, which is what I talk about in the world of saving money. So paying yourself first. She takes the first $400 a week, or she gets paid every 8 weeks. So she takes the first $800 a week of that money, and she has it put away. She doesn't even see it. It's taken off the top and it's put into a long-term savings. What you don't see, you don't miss. So she's saving her money first and spending what's left, rather than spend money and hope that she's got enough to save. It's simple to understand, but it's not easy to do, because the hard part is we have to break old habits to do it. So I'm hoping you'll get this. Now, from April on of this year, I'm doing a whole series of Zoominars that is sponsored by L'Oreal Salon Emotion, that they will comp you. You can come to that conversation as their guest to find out more. And then Sheila will be one of the peoples that I will actually invite, so that people will know that I'm not making this up. So I wanted to say that to you. All right, I want to bring this to a close, and the way I want to bring it to a close is, let me see if I can open up my clicker. Sometimes sticks, and I want to thank L'Oreal. There we go. We're powered by this conversation. Behind the Chair Millionaire is 100% powered by L'Oreal. I'm going to be able to, because of their sponsorship, to bring this content to you. Compliments them. It's not free. It's compliments them, because they believe in you. These are their brands. And their newest brand is really an educational arm of L'Oreal called Salon Emotion. So Salon Emotion, my teaching, Behind the Chair Millionaire, is 100% powered by Salon Emotion. So thank you, L'Oreal. Thank you, Salon Emotion, because they're making this conversation possible. These are L'Oreal's brands. To the degree that you use these brands in the salon and promote these brands to your clients, to the degree that you do that, you make it possible for this conversation and this education to be powered by Salon Emotion. So please, if you're grateful for this, express your gratitude and get involved in these brands. All right, been a great night. I'm going to let you get on with your evening. I'll see you on Thursday evening. We have another guest Thursday evening that's a salon owner that is over the $1 million mark, and she was able to get there by using Payrock, which is a credit card processing company. And her story is that in addition to sending her daily batches to Payrock of credit card sales for them to process, she had Payrock take out another 10% and put it aside. So she's paying herself first through Payrock. And she's been able, for herself, her husband, her family, to save over $1 million. She's going to be in on Thursday evening. So I'll look forward to picking up the conversation where we left off. So listen, it's a great night. Have a good evening, and we'll see you on Thursday.